So yeah, Tacoma is a bit of a weird one. I don't know if you guys played Gone Home, but this game has basically all those same elements that Gone Home had, and Gone Home was such a really cool, unique experience. And so this game has all that going for it, but yet it just didn't have that same, heart and soul that Gone Home had. That's kind of like the core of what Gone Home was. It had a certain heart to it that you couldn't really even explain, but you just kind of felt while you were walking through that house. And although I do think this game has that same, heart and soul to it somewhere, it's somewhere in there. It's kind of buried, like you don't feel it, and it's just like it wants to come out, but it just doesn't. And I feel like you also feel that way as you're playing it. You want it to be there so badly.
Minnie, I'm headed in. Talk to you when I'm back. Don't let anybody scan the ship while I'm gone.
Okay.
So if you haven't heard of Tacoma or Gone Home for that matter, these are two games that were made by Fulbright. And these are very small, indie mystery / exploration type games. So in these games, your options are quite limited. You can pick up certain things here and there, interact with a few different things. And these are kind of used to progress a story. You got to learn through, that's the whole point of it, exploration. You explore through the house in Gone Home, you explore through this space station in Tacoma. And yeah, so it doesn't ask too much of you as the player, but that's not the kind of games these are, They're purely story-driven games where you're placed right inside of it, not knowing what's going on, and that's like the point of it. That's the fun of these kind of games, you want to just go in, not knowing anything, and find out for yourself, what's going on here.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. While aboard Tacoma Station.
Unfortunately, though, the story of Tacoma just wasn't very interesting, and so that took away a lot of the fun about it. Whereas Gone Home placed you in this big house that was, set in a thunderstorm in the 90s at night. You're all alone. It's very creepy, and it adds this really cool, almost horror element to the game that, this game could have also had, because you're out in space, on this space station, basically by yourself also. And that's a creepy setting to be in. That can be in itself a very scary just premise on its own. And a big thing too is that in Gone Home, you're isolated forever. I mean, the entire game, without spoiling anything, you're by yourself in this house figuring things out. There's a narration going on by Sam, which, adds that whole story element, but in this game, that's kind of taken away immediately. I'm still not going to go into spoilers at all, but you do see early on, how you're going to learn about this story, and that's through these sort of hologram, recordings.
So, you really miss it, huh?
Well, it just seems like it'd be strange being back on Earth already.
And yeah, so while they're not actually there and they're just recordings and they're this weird colored outline of a person's profile, that still added these characters to the game that made you not feel as isolated anymore. And even though knowing that they weren't actually there, there were still characters talking, and you could hear conversations, and it always did feel like there were other people on this spaceship, and it took away some of that isolation feeling that maybe it would have been too much to do it again, just to do Gone Home in space. So I get why they did that, but at the same time, these characters and these colored outlines of people, you couldn't connect to them either. So they were there, but they weren't really there, and you could find out a little bit about them through these AR, I don't know what exactly they were called, but you kind of hack into their phones and their emails type of thing. That's all kind of set up on this one technologically advanced hub that they have carrying around them, or I don't even know really. But it's kind of cool. It seems like something that would be in the future. And you go into these things and find out a little bit about them, but not a lot about them, and you don't really like end up caring about them because of these things. It kind of honestly just wastes your time a little bit, and some of it is important information, I guess, but that was the biggest part of the game, and if it doesn't work, which I thought it didn't really work, then that kind of hinders it, ultimately hinders it quite a bit. And a few of these characters did have the potential to be very interesting, and you want to like learn more about them, but the game also isn't very long, so that runs out very fast. Like, you don't care about them enough by game's end, and you never establish a real connection with any of them. So the emotional tug of the story, it just never really happens. And you really want to. You're playing this tug of war with the characters, and you're wanting them to pull, and it's a one-sided game. You're just pulling, and nothing's happening on the other side.
So you do not know what you're looking for?
No, I just imagine. Well, I guess I just mean someone I can talk to. Someone who makes me laugh. Don't you like some people more than others?
But easily the best character was the AI character, Odin. He had a really cool voice. It almost sounded like a familiar actor, but I wouldn't know for sure who that was. I guess I could search it up right now, but I'm not going to. But yeah, the voice of Odin was kind of like it was very powerful, and you wanted to know more about Odin. I really wanted to learn more about this AI character, and you kind of don't find out much. So it's always a bit disappointing when like the character you think is the most interesting is the one that gets the least amount of screen time in a movie, or in here, screen time on the game.
Raised differently from each other?
Yes. We are each uniquely evolved, individualized entities.
Another quick thing to note are these kind of fun games that you can play inside the game. So basically, basketball and also billiards, and then they have a dartboard. And yeah, it was actually pretty satisfying hitting the dude's face with the darts. Like, even though you knew for a fact where it was gonna go, you just basically press A and the dart's gonna go right there. The best part was easily the basketball, though. That's just so satisfying when you're in space and you just throw the ball and it goes so slow. Like, in highlights they make like the basketball go in slow motion to make it really suspenseful and add this power to it. But in space, without gravity, it does that on its own. So you're just seeing the ball go very slowly towards the hoop, and is it gonna go in? And when it does, it's kind of an amazing feeling. So yeah, there's not much else to say aside from that. I know that this game is a couple years old now, and it might be safe to talk about those spoilers at the end and how the whole game kind of wrapped up. But I know there's a lot of you out there just like me who, haven't played this game yet, and you do want to at some point, and for one reason or another, you just haven't. And so yeah, I'm not going to go into what happens, but this is a short game, so if you are planning on playing it and you just, have a couple hours to spare one of these days. Also, I don't know what the price of this game is right now, but I wouldn't pay too much for it. But again, if maybe you already have the game and you just haven't played it yet, it's not going to be a long game. It's really going to take, I think, maybe 2.5 hours at the most. If you go through everything, maybe it'll take a little bit longer. I certainly didn't pick up every single object possible.
All there is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Let's break out the booze.
And just to compare it with Gone Home one last time, because I did put it in the title, I wanted to talk about that game a little bit. I think the biggest downfall that this game has compared to Gone Home is the lack of replayability and also rewatchability. Because the thing with Gone Home, and my favorite thing, is that there's this feeling about it that makes you want to be in that game. And I had this urge to always go back to it or watch people play it. I went on YouTube and I've watched a bunch of Let's Plays and walkthroughs, and just more than I have for a lot of other games. And I'm not sure again what it is, but it had that part, it had that thing about it, it had that factor to it that this game does not have. It just really lacks that certain thing, and so I don't think I'll have the urge to go back to play it again, which is disappointing. For me, my favorite movies of all time are ones that I love to go back to, and I watch them way more than I should instead of watching new movies. Same thing with games and books, that's just kind of how I've always been. And so I think that's why I had so many expectations for this game, because Gone Home became one of those for me. One reason I actually will maybe go back to it at least one more time is that the game has this commentary version apparently. But yeah, I'll definitely check that out because I'm pretty obsessed with commentaries just in general. And as for this studio, like these game developers, like I want to hear a lot from what they have to say about it too, because with Gone Home and this game, like even though it wasn't my favorite, I'm really interested in what their ideas were and all that. And they're a studio I'm going to look out for in the future now for anything they do. And so yeah, like I said, Tacoma isn't as good as Gone Home, but visually, interactively, I think they did make strides that went beyond what Gone Home did. And so that potential, if Fulbright Studios, if you are making a third game, which I really hope you are, I think there's some serious potential here for, just an unbelievable game that combines the best elements of both of them. And I'll be looking out for it, because no matter what from the studio, from Fulbright, I'll be there for it. But that's all I've got for this one. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I feel like I'm starting to get, a better footing here with these videos, and it's been a ton of fun making them. Editing them is a bit of a tricky thing to do, but it's something I want to keep doing because I love doing it. But just in case some of you are watching this and do want to maybe stick around for some more, that'll be awesome first off. But I just want to let you know I am working on a video on What Remains of Edith Finch, which is a game I really couldn't wait to talk about, and so I'm really excited to make that one and get it out there. And also a certain episodic game that I've had my eye on for a while, and that might come after the What Remains of Edith Finch video. I'll keep that one a secret though for now. If you want a hint, however, it is a 5-episode game. I know there's a few games out there that have 5 episodes, so it's going to be hard to pin it down. But aside from that, again, just want to say thank you for watching. I do hope to see you next time, but if not, hey, it's always great having you here. And to all of you out there, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks.